Hey! I'm the Netherrealm Nobody, and this is the Mortal Kombat's Defenders of the Realm, Episode 13, Overthrown Review. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna be glad to get over the whole naming the titles that long. Crazy intros. Alrighty, so guys, we finally made it to the finale of the entire series. Basically, this episode, it's the anniversary of King Jareth's death, and Katana's wanting to avenge that. However, we get a crazy pairing of Shiva and Shang Tsung, and we also get the crazy pairing of Raiden with Motaro, the other Centaurians, and the Tarkatans, or sorry, Nomads. How did we get there? Well, it's a crazy ass journey. So let's get right into it. So we kick things off. Katana's remembering, because again, the anniversary's coming up. She's remembering, the fall of her father and everything, and Shao Kahn's takeover of Edenia. And so what happens is she devises a plan. She's wanting to basically overthrow Shao Kahn, take back, Outworld. I guess I don't know if she can bring back Edenia or not. If at this point it's like gone, or if once you take over the realm, you can, I don't know. But her plan is basically to, just take out Shao Kahn. And so, her and Liu Kang kind of, talk and everything. And then we are introduced to Asgarth, who's like Bird Person. And I'm probably going to just refer to him as Bird Person this entire episode. That's who it reminded me of the entire time I'm watching this thing. But apparently he was King Jareth's like trusty advisor or whatever. And then we find out that Katana's getting some help from Shiva and the other Shokan. And her rationale is she, is tired of taking orders from Shang Tsung. The fact that, Shang Tsung, Shiva has joined up, and her reason is she's tired of taking orders from Shao Kahn, because Shao Kahn placed Motaro as the head, of the extermination squad. Sorry, getting tongue tied here. And so she's already, she's pissed about that, because we all know Shao Kahn's and Centaurians, they don't get along, and so she's pissed about that. However, Liu Kang is not buying it. He's just like, I don't know. Why is she helping us now? Even with that, response, I don't trust her. And then back at the home base, they're all watching, closed caption or closed circuit. And, they're all saying the same thing. Like, we can't trust them either. Now, the only one that's kind of okay with it is Sub-Zero. And, of course, Sub-Zero's against it. Sonya is kind of in on it, because she goes, listen, Sub-Zero, we trusted you and we didn't have to. However, as all this is going on, they do make the plan, and they have the plan to, overthrow Shao Kahn. However, we find out that Shiva is not actually Shiva. It's Shang Tsung in disguise. And Shang and Shao Kahn decide they're going to, destroy the defenders once and for all. Like that. And, of course, Shang Tsung's even asking, like, why aren't you just using Shiva for real? Like, you don't need me. And, of course, Shao Kahn's like, she's too stupid. And the Shokan are all stupid, and I need you. We gotta trust you with this. And on the outskirts, I guess Motaro is kind of rallying the Centaurs and the Tarkatans together. I know they're called Nomads in this show, but I'm sticking with Tarkatans. So we now cut back to Earthrealm. Everyone's trying to tell Katana, like, listen, this doesn't seem right, but Shiva says she's all in, and she's willing to fight side by side with Raiden and the other defenders. And so, as Katana, Asgard, and Liu Kang are, already heading out to Outworld, Raiden's going to send the others along with him, but he's already hesitant. And he's like, listen, we're not doing this. And they're like, we have to. We told Katana we'd help her out. And he's like, well, listen, that's fine. And as Nightwolf's about to get up, he's like, no, Nightwolf, you're staying, because we got to have someone protect the home base in case things go sideways. And then he's like, and I can't go because I don't have, the power, that I have, here. Which is his fucking bitching the entire series, is like, I don't have the power in that world. He brings it up once a goddamn episode, it seems like. And of course, they're just like, well, listen, we need you guys out there. And Raiden's rationale is, well, if Katana's plan is so good, 2 less people ain't going to make a difference. And I'm like, that's the dumbest fucking logic ever. Now, we'll find out later, Raiden kind of knows what's going on, and he has an idea and all this other stuff, and whatever. He's got his own plan. But that's what he tells his people. And I'm like, I'd be pretty pissed off. I'm like, that is the plan. That's literally like saying, hey, we're going to a street fight. It's going to be 5 against 5. And here's my plan. We're going to jump them or whatever. And then whoever's in our group's like, well, we're taking 2 out. Like, we're leaving. We're staying behind. You 3 go ahead, though. Because your plan's so good, you don't need us to. Well, it's like, no, dick. Those were the plans. We needed you to. I don't know. It was kind of ridiculous moment there for Raiden. But, like I said, I guess we find out later he kind of knew what, sort of what was going on. He knew something was amiss. That's what we'll say. So, anyways, we now cut to Liu Kang, Katana, and Asgard. And, as they're about to lead this rebellion into the, thing, Shao Kahn shows up with Ermac and the other red ninjas. And more cybernetic Lin Kuei warriors. And so at this point, they realize, oh shit, we've maybe been set up. They do fight for a bit. We get actually a really awesome battle sequence. Even like Shadow Warriors or Shadow Priests are getting involved and everything. However, when Shiva shows up, we get another Shiva. And it's like, what? And you got Shiva and Shao Kahn and Shiva and more Shao Kahn. And of course, Shiva yells out, no, Shao Kahn, we're not going to follow you. Well, Shang Tsung transforms back from Shiva, so he's in his regular form now. And at this point now, everybody's like, what's going on? Well, Shiva and Shang Tsung has decided to turn against Shao Kahn. And Shang Tsung double-crossed him, told Shiva that, hey, Shao Kahn thinks you're stupid, along with all your entire people, blah, blah, blah. And now it's my time. And Shiva has basically pledged allegiance to Shang Tsung to take over Outworld. Katana's devastated at this point. The other defenders show up, and they're there, and here comes Raiden. And he goes, well, wait a minute, not so fast. And he knew the whole time that something was up because he says that him and Shiva hate each other and they would never team up. Which they kind of had a bit of a history on the show. I mean, they had their run-ins, but I didn't think it was that deep. It wasn't as deep as, I guess, the rival between him and Shang Tsung or even him and Shao Kahn. But whatever. They try to make it like this is the biggest beef on the show. And so anyways, whenever they're about to, take out Ray, they're like, well, you don't have your powers. And he's like, well, I got more power than you think. But he don't show any power. In fact, he just shows up with Mortaro, the Centaurians, and the Tarkatans. And, of course, at this point now, he's, hey, look, they took the Shokans over you guys. Or, sorry, yeah. So, and, of course, we all know Centaurians and Shokans are natural enemies, blah, 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 blah. And now they're going to war against each other. They do try to take out Shao Kahn at one point, and then he and the Shadow Priest disappear and get the fuck out. And then a big battle erupts between, the Centaurians and Motaro and the Tarkatans and Shiva, Shang, and the Shokan. However, it doesn't take long for the defenders to realize, hey, we're stuck in the middle here. We got to fight our way out because whoever wins, they're going to come after us next anyways. And so we get this awesome battle. Everyone's fighting. Sub-Zero kills a Tarkatan, ices him and then breaks him, shatters him. That's murder. Again, I'm just pointing out every time these guys, kick some ass and, take names. So anyways, they finally get out. And of course we end with, because the whole time, and I guess I kind of glossed over this, I apologize. I'm sorry. This is the first time I'm kind of shooting early morning with these videos. I usually do it at night. And this has been a long series I've been covering, so I apologize for my unprofessionalism. Anyways, I glossed over the fact that Katana and Liu Kang, they're both kind of sad that, this whole thing is kind of coming to an end. Yes, Katana was about to, take over the throne once more, overthrow Shao Kahn. But Liu Kang realizes that, he's going to stay on Earthrealm with the Defenders and Katana's leaving. And so there's this kind of bittersweetness to the whole thing. And so at the end, Katana realizes her plans of, it's a bust, as Raiden says, and it doesn't work. And her and Liu Kang kind of share that moment. Of course, Katana takes it pretty well, really. She's like, well, maybe it messed up this time, but I'll get my chance next time. And Liu Kang's like, well, at least we're together. And she's like, hey, we'll always be together, which isn't the case, because honestly, I just don't see either one of them leaving their respective realms. But anyways, we don't have to worry about that now, because they head back into the portal, leaving Asgard behind. I thought that was kind of an odd choice, because everyone else bails, but then, you know. But I guess they also had, I forgot to mention that too, they had a lot of King Jarrett's other followers too, but apparently they weren't a major battle royalty, and I don't know. They kind of just get lost in the shuffle. And that's it. The series is over. Honestly, I thought the build-up on this episode was really good. I love seeing all these moving parts. I love seeing betrayals. But then it just ends. And that's the thing. I don't know. Even if it would have ended on a cliffhanger that would have never resolved, it would have felt like there were going to be more to this. But they just quickly shut the books on it. And it's just like, that's it, we're back. And like, even the fact like Katana is even just kind of like, well, you win some, you lose some. I guess I'll try better next time. I didn't like that. I don't know. I felt like this had a great build, but the climax fell flat, and just didn't have that emotional payoff that I was looking for. But overall, it was still a decent episode. Yeah, we put a cap on the end of the series. We did it, guys. 13 episodes. We've been through all 13 episodes. What do I think about the series in general? Honestly, I'm giving it a thumbs up. It's not perfect. They would perfect the animated art form with the Legends series later on. But I like seeing all these characters assemble. There were a few missteps. I didn't like anytime they deviated from real characters. We didn't need Ruby. We could have had Jade. We didn't need Carbrak. We could have had Baraka. We didn't need, different reptiles. The Ermac thing bugged me, which I did like Ermac in this one, because in this episode, the finale, he fought with his mask off the whole time. Now, it took away the mystique of Ermac, and the fact that he looked like a middle-aged fucking... He looked like, Ra's al Ghul. That's who it reminded me of. Ra's al Ghul from Batman. That's who it reminded me of as I'm looking at this. It's like some middle-aged wizard guy in a red ninja outfit. But at least he was now differentiated from the other red ninjas. So, but I digress. So, like I said, I didn't like the fact that we kept switching characters out for others. But at the same time, this was rich, full of characters. And it did a pretty good job of, setting up what could have been storylines down the road. We introduced Smoke, Cabal, Rain. And we don't get full, even Kano. And we don't get full payoffs on any of these. But I feel like if the show would have kept going, who knows? I would have liked to have seen Johnny Cage enter the fray at some point. It would have been neat to see Shinnok. I think had the show kept going with the video game series, we would have got more characters introduced, and we could have got more storylines that way. But as it stands, I enjoy it. It is, again, it's a little piece of Mortal Kombat history. Kind of like a lot of their TV series, they were very short-lived. So, and I mentioned at the top of the thing that I would eventually rank these episodes. So let me, there we go. So, 13 episodes. I'll start with my number 13. I'm going with episode 8, The Secret of Quan Chi. This is the one that had that angry stone that turned everybody evil. That was just annoying to me. Cool concept, kind of, but the fact that Jax pre-evil stone is crying like a bitch for being called Blubberbutt, you can fuck off. At number 12, I'm going episode 2, Sting of the Scorpion. My main reason for thinking this was I don't like the way they portrayed Scorpion in this. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he talks to begin with at all. But again, he reminded me like an Inspector Gadget villain, Dr. Claw. Didn't like it. Just didn't like it. Yeah. At number 11, I'm going episode 3, Acid Tongue. Kind of same thing. I didn't like the fact that we got a million reptiles and not one reptile was standing at the forefront. And this is another episode that Jax is crying because of his fucking metal arms. And I don't know. Jax, to me, I didn't think this through. I'm fogging my glasses up by talking with his mask on. Anyways, I just didn't like the fact that Jax is kind of a crying bitch throughout this as well. Yeah, so I wasn't big on it. Number 10, I'm going episode 13, Overthrown. This is the finale. great episode, I think. And I should mention that from here on out, I think all the episodes are really good. It's nitpicky, and I think that like I said, the ending just kind of fell flat for me. That's why it gets, such a low ranking. At number 9, we're going to episode 10, The Swords of Ilkon. This is the one that we had introduced Zara into it. I don't know. I just wasn't that big on the character Zara. And we also had that whole weird, let's have Katana and Sonya try to girl bond, and it seemed completely unnecessary to me. Wasn't that big on it. At number 8, number 8, episode 4, Skin Deep. That's the one with Rain. And I liked it. I thought, having Rain included in this thing was really cool. But yeah, I did, wasn't as good as the others. At number 7, it's actually number 7, Fall from Grace. This is the one where Sonya gets put on suspension because she can't, learn that. And that would start off cheesy for me, but I did like Quiet on the Set. Sorry, I gotta yell at these Netherrealm demons sometimes for coughing. Anyways, this is the one where Sonya gets suspended because she can't work well with others. And I said it started off very cheesy, I thought. But seeing her and Stryker kind of become friends at the end, I liked that whole story arc. And I thought it worked out pretty good. So, number 6, also episode 6, was Familiar Red. That's the one with Kano. And, yeah, I dug it. I liked... I'm always a big fan of Kano. Anytime you can introduce him to the story, I'm all for it. And we also get the, kind of backstory, and we get an emotional kind of beat with Sonya Blade here, and I like that. So, at number 5, we're going to go episode 9, Resurrection. This is the one where Shang Tsung comes back. This is also the one where Raiden loses his powers. And what also felt like it was going to be a cheesy episode turned out to be really good. And I really liked the dynamics between him and Jax. And it paid off well because unlike the Shiva Raiden feud, Jax and Raiden has been busting each other's balls the whole series. So it made sense here that they become these unlikely, partners or whatever. So I like that. At number 4, we're going to go episode 11, Amends. This is the one with Cabal. I thought I liked his addition to the story. He was a character I would have liked to see more of here. I like this version of Cabal. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't have gone evil later, but I like him in early Mortal Kombat games because his affiliation's unknown. We know later on he'll turn evil again, rejoin the Black Dragon or whatever. But here, he wants his revenge for being disfigured by the Extermination Squads. And that's the Cabal I like. So, yes. At number 3, now we're getting to the top 3 episodes of Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. For me, at number 3, I'm going to go with episode 12, Abandoned. As much as I didn't really care the fact that they had a character named Ruby instead of just using Jade, this was a very solid episode. I love the whole backstory with Ruby, her and Katana's feud, which again will be kind of reused with Tanya later on. And then Jax is the whole thing. I loved, he's the first one to actually say, fuck it, I am walking away from this. Even though it doesn't last long and he gets pulled back into it. That was a theme that was prevalent throughout the series that I wish would have went a little further, was they're tired of the endless fighting. And when you look at the video game series as a whole, that is kind of where we're going with this, because it never ends. In fact, in the first timeline, it's going to end with everyone dying. So it's like, there you go. There is some, logic behind this of like, what good is this if, all we're doing is fighting, we're not enjoying life, we can't enjoy life because these assholes are trying to take us over, and it's ultimately going to, end with everyone dying anyways. It's kind of a bleak thing. So, and if you're, I know Raiden don't know this now, as he does in other timelines, but it's like, even Raiden's got to think to himself, like, is there an end in sight, Number 2, I'm going with episode 1, Combat Begins Again. I thought, I kept trying to push it down each time, but honestly, I thought it set the tone really well. I don't know. I thought it set up, the fights well, the fact that this is going to be storyline, the fact that, for the most part, episodes are going to continue into each other. I love that aspect of it, because again, this was the mid-90s. We didn't have that back then. It was literally, so this was a new concept, I thought. And so, yeah, I thought the first episode did really well. You had a lot of characters, even though Carbarak was one of them, but you had Cyrax, Sector, and then, of course, the incoming Scorpion, And finally, my number one episode is Old Friends Never Die, episode 5. This is the episode with Smoke. And, yeah, again, just because of the drama that they included into this, we get the Cybernetic Initiative storyline, and then we get, you know, this kind of uneasy alliance at the end with Smoke and Sub-Zero. Brilliantly done. So, guys, there you have it. I hope this video wasn't too long compared to the other ones, but that was Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. I would love to hear your guys' take on this. And if you don't like it, expand a little more, and don't give me that bullshit that it's just too cartoony or the fact that it was made for kids. Because again, these video games were made for kids. Let's be real. They're violent, yes. But who are pumping quarters into these machines? Who's buying the, you know, these toys, these comic books, these video games? Kids. So I would love to hear your actual thoughts. I would love to have people actually go through, actually watch it. I feel like a lot of people who talk shit about this just hear about it, see a couple clips, and then form their own opinion. I don't know if anybody's actually watching it, and I would love to see people actually watch this and give a fair assessment. So, guys, that's all I got. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and until next time.